Hey, Coach Wilcoxon here, Bloodline Sports. We got two great guests here with us for our first new podcast of the season, where we're going to have more guests on and a lot of more interviews, and we're really excited. We got Nile Hesson and Mark Gonzales. Nile Hesson is 6'2", 215, left-handed pitcher, and he is in Aberdeen, South Dakota. What's the name of the school again?
It's Northern State University.
Northern State University, was a D2. What division or what conference is that in?
The NSIC, the Northern Sun.
So what are the other teams in that conference?
We got teams like Augustana, Minnesota State, Mankato. It's a big dog conference. There's a lot of good teams in here for sure.
Oh, so Augustana's in Minnesota, right?
Sioux Falls, I think, in South
Oh,
Dakota. But it's right on the border, yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. And then Mark Gonzales, 6'6", 240, right-handed hitting first baseman. He's at Hobbs, New Mexico, University of Southwest, and that's an NAI school. Who's in your conference, Mark?
So we have LSU, Shreveport,
Yeah.
Shreveport, Louisiana Christian, Our Lady of the Lake, like all those schools.
Man, you play LSU Shreveport, huh?
Yes, yeah, we're in a pretty good conference.
Yeah, they were number one in the country last year.
They were. Yes,
yeah, that's awesome.
Pretty good conference for sure.
All right, so real quick for me, letting everybody else know that I coached you guys this last summer. I've coached now for 4 years. We go way back, but are you guys coming here this year to Arizona to play?
At the moment, I would say so. I don't think there's many options to, but I've always enjoyed playing with Bloodline. I mean, obviously, like you said, I've played with you for.
No, I meant, are you guys going to come here during your season?
I hope so. I don't know though. I know we have.
You wouldn't come here because there's no D2 schools in Arizona.
Right. So the closest that we'd go would probably be Nevada or Southern California.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good because Nick's in SoCal. Yep. What about you, Mark?
No, Arizona. I know we go to Texas a lot. We're gonna go to Louisiana. We're nowhere near over there, but that's where we're headed.
Oh, bummer. Well, obviously I'd get out there, but yeah. So Nile and Mark played for Bloodline Sports this last summer. They both had great seasons. Nile made the All-Star team, and what inning did you pitch in that game?
Fifth. It was the fifth inning because I remember the YouTube video that Momentum did.
Yeah, because you have in 3 seasons pitching for Bloodline Collegiate Baseball, you have 3 losses?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe 4?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a couple. I know last year, like 4-1, something like that.
I think you were 4-1 or 5-1 last year. The year before, like 6-1.
Yep.
Mark made our home run derby. And how many home runs did you hit in that derby? You remember?
I finished with 8.
8 home runs. Awesome.
Got third place. I choked it, but it was. And
if you were lefty-handed, you probably would have hit 20.
Oh, especially at Desert Ridge.
Yeah, the wind was blowing out to right that day, and the 2 lefties went to the finals. But that was a good showing, and I mean, you hit probably 330, 340 for the summer, and I don't even know if you had an air.
I think I finished around 330.
330, yeah. Did you even have an air at first base?
No, sir, not from what I can recall.
Yeah.
I was a picky machine at first, too. Don't mean to brag, but
saved a lot of teammates, that's for sure. Especially when I was pitching.
It's not an easy position, Mark. It's not an easy position.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, Nick played first base, and it's the most underrated position in baseball.
And TJ, I played first base for you for like 3 years.
Absolutely, and you almost led our team in hits for the summer.
And then Lindy took it over.
Now you're a PO.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. That was 2019 or 20?
Right in the middle of COVID or right before COVID, something like that. I do remember.
Right after COVID.
Yeah, right after COVID. It was a good time.
All right, well, this is who we're talking to, so Nick's going to start off with his first question.
Oh, that's me. Yeah, so Hey, good to see you guys. Honestly, so you guys are at some new campuses. How's the adjustment going with the new campuses, lifestyle? What's new? What's different? How are you guys feeling about it?
Well, I mean, it's definitely better than where we were both at. I think we can agree on that. I know me and Mark talked about that a little bit before. I was in Ridgecrest, California, so kind of in the middle of nowhere. My first 2 years at community college ball at Syracuse, so it was a great experience. But I'm definitely more excited to be in at Northern State and being at a university and having that feel of it compared to a junior college. I feel like us JUCO bandits know the grind that it takes, and I feel like doing that for 2 years, it was nice to kind of gain those experiences. But it's just nice being at a university and just having so many more sports and things to do here. It's been really exciting, and I've loved it here. Obviously, with the lifestyle, I live right next to campus, so I'm able to go a 5 minute walk to campus, and it's just great. And honestly, I think the everything about it, from lifting to nutrition and everything that they provide us with the athletes, I think it's huge. But it's definitely a big change for sure. I know there was a change going into it, and that was something that I was a bit skeptical about, but I've enjoyed every minute of it. And like I said, I can't believe I was talking to somebody earlier today. I can't believe I've been here for 2 months already, and the semester's already halfway over.
Yeah, it goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yes, it's been really fast.
Oh yeah. Do you get out to see any of the other sports? Do you get out to any football games or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have to work the football games at times. We're split into groups, but we do get to enjoy the football games, and I'm really excited for basketball season because our basketball team is one of the best basketball teams in the entire Division Two. They've won the national championship, I believe, a couple of years ago or something like that. So those would be really fun. Amazing vlog footage coming up for sure.
Nice. How about yourself, Mark?
Oh yeah. So big thing for me is so like Niall was saying, we were literally in the middle of nowhere in California. Great experience. I mean, I loved it. Obviously, I met great guys like Niall and uh, Jackson. Trent, and had a good time out there. But the biggest thing for me was I'm staying in a dorm now compared to last year or the previous 2 years ago. I was in an apartment, and it's a much smaller, um, smaller room. I don't even fit on my bed. My feet hang off the bed. So it's hard getting used to that, and I have to get up at certain times because there's a cafeteria here. I had to buy a meal plan. So now I got to get up at 6:30 in the morning to go eat breakfast instead of, waking up at 9:30 and eating whenever.
Right.
Beauty thing is I'm close to everything. Gym's a 5 minute walk. Field is 2 minutes away. So I'm definitely saving on gas, and I think that's really the biggest thing for me was just the living situation. Um, like now I was saying, like the grind. Like I've kind of just been used to that this past 2 years. Like um, compared to JUCO and what I'm doing now, like it's a piece of cake. Like I'm just so used to it, and I'm kind of just on autopilot. Like we have practices from I think we got to be there at the field at 1. We don't get out till 5:30.
All
So
right.
I'm just kind of used to it, and I love it. It's one thing to be used to it, but it's another to enjoy the process and have a good time with the guys. And so far, I love it out here. I mean, it's a really small town, but nothing new to me for
So
sure.
now I know you're from Arizona, of course, but Mark, where are you originally from?
So I'm from Albuquerque, so it's here in New Mexico.
Okay.
So I'm closer to home now.
Nice. All right. All right. So the weather, not much of a difference. Now, how about the weather for you?
So I grew up in Minnesota. I've kind of been all over. I was born in Iowa, grew up
Oh,
in
I see your
Minnesota.
post. I know you're a Minnesota
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. So I was grew up in Minnesota, and then I lived in Cleveland, Ohio for a year, and then obviously when I started high school, I lived in Arizona, and that's where I've been ever since. I've heard a lot of things about the weather here in Aberdeen, obviously with snow. I heard the snow was pretty bad last year. It gets pretty cold at times. We just actually finished our fall ball season because of the weather. Although today was beautiful outside, but it's been 40s and 50s sometimes with some high gusts of wind like it was at Ridgecrest. So it's definitely a change and adjustment for sure, but it's something that I signed up for, and I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to it. But I'm not looking forward to the winter and snow and being completely indoors compared to being outside on a daily basis.
Well, both of you guys were playing what 7 inning games in 110-degree weather this past summer. So
Yeah,
I,
Oh
it
I guess,
doesn't get
gosh,
much better either.
I guess
So
you, yeah, but you can
yeah.
adjust to anything. So, all right, man, that's awesome.
So what's the enrollment at your school, Niall?
it's a good question, actually. I don't know. Let me look it up real quick.
How about you, Mark?
We have about 1,000,
Yeah.
nine
And
hundred,
you
a
don't have
1,000.
NAI doesn't have a lot of football teams. You don't have a football team, do you?
We don't. No, sir.
Yeah.
We have a golf
Uh,
team, though.
3,500.
3,500.
Yep.
And both of you are in dorms, or you haven't?
I'm off campus, so I've never lived in a dorm, and I probably won't ever live in a dorm. Obviously, I was off campus at Saracoso, and then I'm off campus again. I think freshmen and sophomores in South Dakota, or at least in a public South Dakota institution, do have to be on campus, but it's just cheaper to live off campus, and I've been doing it basically by myself for the past 2 years, so it's kind of nice to not have to worry about that. I could have if I really wanted to, but also just being off campus and actually really nice apartments for that matter, especially so close by. It's been great.
So you don't have a roommate.
I do. I have two
Oh, you
roommates,
do.
so it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. I
Okay.
share a bathroom with one of my roommates, and then the other roommate has a master bedroom. So
So you're just kind of bougie.
yeah, basically.
That's Nile.
Well, let's get into some baseball talk. So I want to know, Nick and I played college baseball 30 plus years ago, and I want to know what your programs, both of them, and maybe even going back to Saracosa, like the analytics. How involved are your programs in analytics, the launch angle, the exit velo? I mean, I know that there's coaches that really don't care about it. There's some that kind of are in between. There's there's professional programs that's all they do, and that's why I
Yeah.
think the Dodgers are out of the playoffs, because that's all they do is analytics.
Yeah.
So let's start with you now. Your program, how analytical is it when it comes to baseball?
So starting off actually at Saracoso, at least for a pitcher standpoint, we didn't necessarily have much. We were on like a junior college budget, and so we weren't able to purchase things like Rapsodos and stuff like that. So we just kind of used radar guns. And I know if we had a Rapsodo and we had more information driven, our pitching coach, Coach Cantrell, would have definitely been a guy that was not necessarily analytically based, but just had a sense of sort of things. And then coming over here, where we do have a Rapsodo, which is able to track the horizontal movements, the vertical movements, the spin rates, and stuff like that from our bullpens, has been huge to see. I was trying to pull it up on my computer as far as the Rapsodo movements, but I can't. But we do have basically all the analytics that are taken from the Rapsodo onto a Google spreadsheet with all the pitchers, and it goes through, the fastball percentage, curveball percentage, all that stuff. And then actually the hitters just recently got like one of those Rapsodos for hitters. And when we were doing our Fall World Series, we were able to actually get both. We were able to get the pitch that the pitcher was throwing, and then like the exit velo and things of that nature. So with the equipment that we have, it is a very analytically based idea. Our pitching coach here, Coach Hartford, really is big into analytics and like knows what he's talking about and knows how to understand the movements with the pitches and things like that. And so when we just had our fall meeting, it was good to kind of individually see where our pitch movement is or where it should be and ways to kind of counteract it if it's not in the right direction. So I would say at Saracoso, if given the opportunity, we would have had a far better opportunity of being able to track pitches. But now that I'm at Northern State University where we are able to see that, it has definitely helped tremendously for me.
Yeah. So my stance on it is I understand pitching wise. I really do. I as a hitter, as a position player, which I was, I'm not a big. To me, I just want to line drive backspin the baseball as a hitter.
Yeah.
Exit velocity. That could be something. When I look at analytics, I like to look at what they have on it's hitting depth. So you can record where you hit the ball to where you're standing. So if I hit it here, I'll put my hand up. If I hit it here or here or here, then I can see my exit velocity, and I can see as an individual, what's my best contact point? Is it here? Because some guys it is there. Some guys it's there. Some guys it's there. I would, for Mark being 6'6", Aaron Judge. I mean, Aaron Judge is hitting balls way out here. Because why wouldn't you? Because you're 6'7", you want to get extended. So that's the only part that I think about analytically and hitting wise. But what about you, Mark? How's your program?
So I can't speak on behalf of the pitchers. I know they have their Rapsodo, and I think our pitching coach, or our new pitching coach for this year, he's really heavy on that, and he really believes in all those analytics. As a hitter perspective, our coach does not believe in that whatsoever. He's very old school. He's very, if you're 5'8", 140 pounds, you better hit the ball on the ground. And if you're 6'6", 245, you better hit the ball in the air. So it kind of just, he's really old school and kind of just depends on what your size is and, how much damage you can do.
But
So
Mark, but
he's,
as your mindset though, Mark, you're thinking line drive even at your size. You're
so for
thinking
me,
you're thinking line drive gap, and then if you can lift something, you can lift something. Correct? I'm kind of familiar with that because that's kind of how my mindset was find a gap. If you can lift it, lift it.
right, absolutely.
Simplify it.
I think so for me, so when I was at Saracosa for the past 2 years, my mindset was if I don't hit a home run, I'm pretty much failing because I'm a big guy. Like I'm not going to go anywhere if I don't have power. And so I pretty much thought of that, and now I've kind of just like matured, and I've kind of just thought, you know what, let's just try to hit, a gap shot in the right center field. And
Exactly.
honestly, that approach has been really helping me a lot. I stay through the ball, I get more extension, and I'm not as tight. I feel loose and I feel relaxed in the box. So I
The
think having
simplest
that
thing to do.
approach,
The simplest thing to do is think middle away, something inside, turn on it.
right?
Every
Absolutely,
approach, right? Yeah,
yes, sir.
exactly.
And I was always, thinking big, hit home runs, and what would happen was I would really like spin off instead of
Yep.
sticking to my approach, thinking opposite field. And that's when your line drives come in for sure. So I think for me it was just developing an approach and stop having an ego for sure.
Well, and then thinking to get to the next level for you guys, which would be getting a paycheck, right? There's three ways, and it's hit bombs, big bombs, and you got to go big boy bombs like oppo, dead center oppo, right? That's where they analyze real power. All of us can pull one down the line and hit a home run, or you got to throw 94, or you got to run like a 6.760, 6.660. Now with Nile's case, because he's lefty, he doesn't have to throw 94 if he can get three pitches, control. But I'll tell you what, I mean, in the 4 years I've coached Nile, he's had like two bad outings in 4 years. The dude is like you were at the game where he threw 130 pitches, right? Well, we beat was it the Creek Freaks or whoever it was?
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep him in to finish the game, but he was at 136 or something. I'm
Well,
like, I
see,
gotta take him out.
well,
But
see, that was self-inducing because the first inning was terrible. But I mean, that's kind of funny that you bring that up because I didn't know I was at 130 something pitches
I
that
didn't
game.
either. You
Yeah,
were
I was just kept
because
rolling out.
first inning you just mowed and you just shoved it, and it was like. But I remember the first inning it was about 31 pitches in the first inning. And if
Yep.
you remember, I went up to you, I said, dude, you're just throwing just to throw. I don't see a purpose in your pitches.
Yep.
Make it purpose with every pitch. And then it was like nine pitches, 11 pitches. And
Yep.
then I think Mark hit a home run that game.
I did. I
Yeah.
remember
Drew
that.
hit one off the wall. We scored like 11 runs in the first inning or something.
It was a
After
weird
you had,
game.
yeah, it was. But, so again, to get to the next level, I think that you guys really, both of your makeups, your bodies are very uh, appetizing for scouts. So just keep working. I'm so proud to see you guys moving on and enjoying what you're doing and of course getting an education. So just real quick, we'll go up for measurable. I did list your height and weight, so exit velo and all that analytical stuff, I guess. So really the only question I'd have on that question is what are you living at right now, Nile, and what are you topping at?
So this fall, I was still the same, about 81 to 85. I think I topped out at 85. I'm three quarters, arm slot, and I've basically transitioned from a four-seam fastball to a two-seam fastball because my arm naturally has arm side run. And I realized kind of with my pitching coach, kind of through some analytical stuff and spin rates and stuff like that, especially towards the last week and a half, that I mean, when I throw anything for a strike, to be quite frank, it's better than when I'm throwing and walking guys. So my two seam definitely was something that I really wanted to establish because I have a really nice cutter. And so having, being able, especially to a righty, to throw a two seam outside and a cutter inside or vice versa with a lefty, I think it's been huge. So having kind of like an 81 to 85 mile an hour per hour sinker with the three quarters arm slot has definitely helped me out a lot. And that's something that I kind of stressed about, throughout the fall. I just kind of have some analytics right here. I threw 63.2% for fastballs, or my pitches were 63.2%, which is a bit high, but it was something that I was kind of having, an effective clip with, a 15.4% from the slider, and then only like a 2.6% from changeup. So that was something that was kind of my goals going into this upcoming winter, is just establishing the changeup, because I want my changeup to be my best pitch. It's been my worst pitch throughout my career, and I know hitters in particular aren't usually fond of changeups. So if I'm able to successfully, drop a changeup in there alongside my arm side and glove side movement with my fastball, I think I'd be in a far better position.
So is your changeup moving away from righties?
Yes, unless I, for some reason, kind of have a little bit of cut to it. It sometimes can move in, down and into a righty. But most of the time when I throw it effectively, just because I naturally pronate compared to supinate, it's going to go, arm side or away from righties.
So if you need to get inside on a righty, what are you throwing? Slider?
Usually a cutter. A cutter, because my cutter has more sharp movement compared to a slider having more vertical movement. And so when I have a nice cutter where I set my sights down the middle and I have a two seam breaking away and a cutter breaking inside, it's going to mess with the hitter's eye level. And then the cutter is going to go down a little bit, same with the two seam, whereas the slider is going to drop drastically, and a changeup is going to go vertically up and down, hopefully down, not up. But
did you eliminate the curveball?
yes, because my slider is kind of like a slurve. It's kind of like a slider curveball, but I did eliminate the curveball grip because it was just kind of, especially with my arm angle and where my release point was and how it's always been, it wasn't having as effective break as I'd like it to. So I kind of have like a little slurve where it does move like a curveball on a slider, but it's more of a slider compared to a curveball.
So you got a four pitch.
Yes.
And
I'm working on a splitter. It's not great, but it's a work in progress. Sometimes it's really good, but sometimes it's really bad.
Like, dude, crafty lefties, even like for me as a right-handed hitter, the crafty lefty, just that's the guy you go home and you're like, how did I go 0 for 4 off that guy?
Well, see, and for me,
and then when the lefty that came in and was throwing gas, I'd go 2 for 3 off him with 2 doubles. And then but if I faced you, I'd go home 0 for 4 and go, how? Why?
Yeah,
he couldn't throw it by me, but he just baffled me, right?
For me, I have to be a junk ball pitcher, right? I'm not going to be a guy that's going to blow away with velocity. I got to kind of make movement with my pitches if I want to have success and miss the barrel of the bat. And so that's something that I really focus on, because I know I'm not going to throw 90, right? I know I'm going to stick probably 81, 85, and just kind of be a junk ball, two seam, cutter, slider, changeup, splitter. Just changing speeds and changing the eye levels is important for me. And really any pitcher, but particularly for a junk ball guy like me.
All right, Mark, let me ask you this. Have your at Hobbs, have they tinkered at all or asked you at all to play a corner outfield?
They actually haven't brought it up. So
yeah,
the beauty of it is, so the other first basemen, they're all, I think the second tallest is 6 foot. The other two guys are like 5'8", 5'9". So then when they see a 6'6" guy, they're like, yeah, we want you there at first. And plus they already have, their outfielders, and we have some pretty good outfielders out there, and they've been here for 3 years. So that's pretty much like their position. So I think my odds at first are better for sure.
Well, because you're not slow, and you have a good glove. He's Niles laughing at you. You're not.
Yeah, I mean, why Niles laughing.
Well, he definitely knows how to Cadillac it around the base.
I mean, who's winning a foot race?
I'm smoking now.
No, there's no chance. I'm pretty
smoking
sure he did this before too. But
Well, what I'm saying, I mean, Aaron Judge isn't a burner. He's obviously was going to play tight end at Notre Dame. He's an athlete. But I'm just thinking for you, next level, getting drafted, signing, indie ball or whatever. I mean, if there was a chance that you could play outfield, because I don't think is Jordan Massis that much faster than you? Jordan plays a good outfield though.
He does for sure.
Yeah, good thumbs. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I got him speed wise. To be honest with you,
I think so
the
too.
6'6" strides are
Right. So I'm
are
saying
crazy.
if you get if maybe in a blowout and say, hey coach, can I go play left field? And I mean, you never know, because if the scouts know that you can do both, that's a
Oh,
good thing.
absolutely.
And
More opportunities, the better.
your presence in the box just changes a lot of stuff, because I'll tell you what, man, you hit some of the most impressive, and this is a weird thing to say, some of the most impressive foul balls I've ever seen. Like pop ups behind the went over the screen behind home plate that
Right.
were moon balls.
Oh, we're way up there, yes sir.
And I'm like, oh my god! If you're this much higher on that ball, it's out of the reservation where we were playing in the summer league. So,
Mark, did you play any other sports in high school?
No, so I used to play basketball growing up, but when it came to high school, it was time to just focus on baseball. And Niles smiling because he knows I would bully him in the paint.
well, I was gonna say,
No, there's.
we got to college. Niall worked you in basketball, didn't he?
I did.
I'll give Niall credit. He can shoot, but he's a little boy when he comes in my territory in the paint.
No, that's false.
Well,
I mean,
I was
I
just
have
gonna-
a.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Go ahead, Niall.
I was gonna say I had a little. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I have a little YouTube videos with like playing basketball as a team last year. Which one of the things I liked about playing college baseball was just the fact that we were able to kind of do things together as a team. Like we go in for open gyms. It was a good way to do cardio and also team bond, and have a little bit of competitive atmosphere. And I felt like I beat Mark every time until he wanted to be on my team and wanted to find a way to win. But hey, you know what?
Oh, here we go.
The facts don't lie.
Here we go.
If we ever got to play again, maybe we have to do like some sort of stream for Bloodline to see. But I mean, I would cook him, and I would play good defense. I'd shoot on top of him, drive by him, all that good stuff.
Well, I was going
guy.
to say if we have the pleasure of coaching you guys next summer, I think
Hey.
we should set up a 2-on-2. I like to take.
We definitely should set something up.
Who would be my two?
I like to size up Mark on the paint.
Oh, here we go.
For a guy his size, let me just say, for a guy his size, you are able to kind of size him up in the paint. I will say that, but because he would try dunking and he wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I mean, he's 6'6", you'd expect him to dunk and he just couldn't do it. I mean, there's actual footage of him trying to do it and he wasn't able to do it. So I'm just throwing that out there.
I can dunk. I just don't know like the fundamentals of doing it.
Yeah,
If that
maybe with
makes
like
sense.
a little Tykes basketball or like one of those tennis balls you can touch the rim. But
Here we go. Here, we're gonna have to set something up here.
I didn't know dunking required fundamentals.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like every time I jump, the ball just just slips out.
Can you palm the ball?
I can for a little bit, but not. I can't like just hold it,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
That's all right. we'll see what happens next summer. We'll have to do a 2-on-2.
Oh, for sure.
Sounds good.
All right.
For sure.
So Mark, I'm going to start off with you. Your daily routines. You're at a new university. You're doing your thing. What's your daily routine like?
Pretty repetitive. Really simple. So I wake up at set my alarm at 7. I usually don't get up till 7:40. So having a hard time getting up. And then so we have workouts from my group is at 8 in the morning to 9. So we go work out then go eat breakfast afterwards, and then have class from 9:30 till about 12:20.
Okay.
We have practice at 1 to 5:30. Come back home, shower, rest for a little bit, and then I go work out again from maybe 7 to 9, and then the rest of the night is either on my game or doing homework.
All right.
So you work
Pretty
out
simple.
7 to 9. Is that on your own?
Oh, that is on my own. Yes, sir. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of my teammates go to the gym that I go to, so we kind of just, it's kind of just another way to bond and, get the gains together and get big and, do what we
Do you
need to
get
do.
a
So,
Do you get a free membership at a gym for being an athlete and a college student?
so the gym gives us a discount. So it's usually $50 a month, but they charge us 20 $20 a month, which isn't bad. I mean, we have all the free weights and the dumbbells, so it's really nice. The kettlebells, medicine balls, like it has everything you need for sure.
Nice. So that's Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, and then weekends. Honestly, it just depends. We haven't. Well, actually, tomorrow is our first fall game. We're just getting started. I think we're only going to play two this fall. We got New Mexico Junior College. They're pretty good JUCO in New Mexico. So we're going to be, from what I heard, slowest guy we're going to be facing is 90. So
You
Wow.
haven't played another team yet this year.
no, sir, just a bunch of inter squads.
Wow.
Yeah, it's different for sure.
So the two fall, is that due to weather or is this just scheduling?
I think it was just scheduling. I'm not too sure why we haven't started sooner, but it's kind of just going with the flow. Like I know this weekend we're gonna play. Following weekend we have another game, and then we have our World Series, and then we're off for like 6 weeks for break. It's pretty crazy.
So the home run you hit it was an inter squad practice.
That was an inter squad, yes sir.
Yeah. And what's your day like, Niall?
Well, I got to ask first. Well, I think I know. So Niall, you wake up, you do a nene whip TikTok.
Yep.
All right. As a pitcher, you just kind of cruise around and
Quite literally, yes.
okay. All right.
Yeah, so it's different being in the NCAA compared to being at a JUCO or NAIA because with the NCAA there's certain rules as far as team practices, team availability, and stuff like that. So we actually just finished up our fall season, and since this is my first semester at a D2 or NCAA affiliated school, I'll just give you a brief kind of routine on how that works. But that includes having 3 days in the weight room, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. My weight group is 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. So I set my alarm for 6:45. Usually out the door and up out of my bed by 7:10. I try to get up as late as possible because I'm not a morning person. Then after a lift, come home, shower real quick, go to class. Got 2 classes typically a day. I have class every day. I have a little bit of downtime and then practice from about 3:15. And then the pitchers are usually done in about an hour, hour and a half. We're able to go while the rest of the team practices. And then come home, do some homework, do some podcasting, some YouTube, some TikToks, whatever I'm feeling that night, and go to bed and do it all over again.
A lot of free time.
Yeah, I would say there was like for me like there's because obviously there's a certain amount of stuff that we have to do, and typically when we have like practices like at 3, when I have some of that downtime, especially what my day is compared if it's a high intent day, low intent day, I do some of my stretching, some static stretching, massage gun, get my body as prepared so I'm able to go to the field, do my dynamics, plyos, throwing, and then leave. But it sounds like a pretty free schedule until you kind of do it and you realize, like I said, I've already been here for 2 months and it feels like it's just absolutely flown by. But it's been consistent and kind of a steady schedule.
What made ever since I've known you, you've been a gym rat, doing all your plyos, all the stuff you've talked about. What caused that? What pushed that crazy drive that you have, which is unbelievable for me as a coach. If I wish every player that I coached would be like that, but how did you get that way?
So for me, I think it really started with COVID. And during that time period, I realized that, especially my seniors, because I was a junior in high school, the seniors got their season cut short. They didn't even have a graduation, whatever. And I realized how fragile not only baseball is and how long you can play baseball for, but how long life is. And really from that day, I kind of lived with a motto that one of my high school coaches told me, as well as just in general, but, you know, live every day like it's your last. And for me, after every lift, after every practice, I ask myself if this was my last day playing baseball or my last day, in the gym or my last day even walking for that matter, would I be satisfied? Like, did I do everything that I could possibly have done? Did I give it my best? Did I give it my all? And if I don't feel like I did, then I don't feel like I accomplished the day. And so for me, whenever I'm in the weight room or whenever I'm doing my plyos or whatever. I mean, there's days, obviously, being a college athlete, being an athlete in general, just life, you just kind of feel like giving up or feel like it's too much, whatever. But for me, my mind's always been a go, 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 go. And that's something I kind of struggle with at times, putting too much on my plate. But I'm happy that I'm able to do it. And for me, that's kind of where my work ethic came from. Obviously, like my dad, shout out Rod, kind of helped me
Shout
out
out
as
Rod.
far as
Go.
having a good work ethic and stuff like that. But I also feel like too, I'm blessed to have obviously a bit of an athletic scholarship, but my parents are paying for my college as well. So being able to kind of have that's been huge. And so for me, like I almost feel like if I'm not giving it 150% every day and they're paying for, what's the point, right? And so for me, that was kind of a model that I lived by, and I want to obviously succeed, but I want my teammates to succeed as well. But I think just kind of living every day like it's your last, you're playing, your last practice or last game, because I mean, I'm running out of time here. I'm 20 and I have 2 seasons of eligibility left. And so basically, even though the days, the mornings suck, I hate the mornings, late nights and long practices and long fall games and things like that. But I'm blessed to be playing college baseball and I'm blessed to be a college athlete. And it's something that, I'll cherish for the rest of my life. So that's kind of where I got my work ethic and drive from, is just trying to live every day like there's no tomorrow.
Well, you're a part of a very small percentage, just to let you know, and I know you know that.
Yeah, both of you, and I know both of you appreciate that you have been blessed to do this, and that's why we do what we do at Bloodline. Is we're trying to get as many of our athletes, to play at the next level and get the experiences that you're having. It's just it's really hard to describe how much fun it can be playing the greatest game in the world and getting an education.
Yep.
I would tell you that there is something to be considered about balance, Nile.
I know.
have a little bit of fun. Be a
Oh, don't worry. I have my fun and I have my time to
yeah,
myself.
like
I've actually kind of relaxed a little bit. Like now that the fall season's over, these last 2 days,
breathe.
I've been actually able to take a nap. I took a
Yeah,
30-minute nap today, which I don't ever allow myself to do just because I'm always in
good.
a go, go, go thing. But I think that's something that I've learned, is just also to know that like you gotta like rest and you gotta take time for not only yourself, but because it's hard, being a college student to begin with and then a college athlete on top of it. And so being able to find time for yourself and find hobbies that you enjoy. And for me, that's obviously, playing video games or making YouTube videos or TikToks or podcasts, just little things. And being able to have a social life outside of it too. I think that's part of the reason why like it's gone by so quick, is because I've been able to fill myself with obviously great people and just everything that I've been able to do. It's been able to kind of balance it. But I've realized as I've gotten older that, hey, I can take a chill pill. It's okay if I take a day off, and it's okay if I take a 15-minute nap instead of doing something else.
So
Yeah,
you two are with each other for 2 years.
Yes.
Yes,
Are
Yes,
sir.
you
sir.
having, are you having withdrawals? Do you miss each other?
I
Yes,
have
I
my
do miss
withdrawals
Mark.
for sure every night.
I mean, see, so Mark and I were really close at Saracoso. He
We're
actually
gonna have a
lives.
little sincere moment here. So go ahead.
Yeah. So Mark, like I said, Mark's basically been family to me. I mean, obviously my dad loves him. I think he loves him more than he loves me. But Mark has lived at my house in the summer for the last 2 summers. Obviously, the one last summer where he played with Bloodline, and then before when he played with Sandlot. So it's been great to see Mark. Unfortunately, I've been able to see him every day like I used to. But we it's, at least we live in a day and age where you have like FaceTime and stuff like that.
Nice.
Absolutely.
yeah. And going back real quick, I don't think people understand or really appreciate what you guys go through, because you see these Division I football players that, it's football season now, and playing for Notre Dame and Alabama and Ohio State. Like these guys, they don't, now they put the work in, right? They're grinding physically, but I don't think people understand. But I have knowledge of, they are student athletes, but the athletic or the student part of it is way down on the bottom of the list. And they got tutors, they got people doing probably papers for them. They don't have to grind as much. Some of them even go into basketball. Some of these guys go one and done because they're so talented. And what you guys are doing, grinding, going to these smaller schools, but still playing incredible talented teams and being very talented yourself, and putting all that work in that you have to do. That's why I think baseball separates from the other sports, is because, when you're good at football, you can play Sundays a year later, right?
Yeah.
You're a great NCAA basketball player. You're on a team playing on TV the next year. And baseball doesn't happen. It might take 8 years. It might take 4 years. It might take 9 years before you get into the big leagues. And nothing's handed to you on a baseball field. And so I really think that what you guys are doing is such an awesome thing, and I'm so proud of you guys. And so let's go past baseball. What are you guys majoring in? I'll start with Mark.
So I'm currently majoring in kinesiology, so it's just the study of human movement. I currently have a associate's degree in that, and I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree. I'm not too sure exactly what I want to do with it. It could lead into physical therapy, personal training, all that stuff.
That
I've
was
kind of
my
thought about. I'm sorry.
that was my degree. That's my major. Yeah,
Oh, was
kinesiology.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back
So,
then it was exercise science, but it was
okay, I got you.
physiology and all the anatomy and all the other stuff that came along with it.
Right, absolutely. And I know as I was at a COSO, I was really, you can even ask Niall. I made Niall a meal plan, and
He did.
I'm really huge into nutrition and what you put into your body. So I think I'm going to end up minoring in nutrition and kind of just going that path. I'm not too sure about it yet. Kind of still deciding. It's crazy. I'm 3 years into college and I still don't know what I want to do. There's so many options, and I'm just still deciding. I think that's going to be my main thing is nutrition. Very interested in it. Love it. I know when I was at Coastal, I made Nile and I think 10 other guys meal plans because at some point
Charge
when I
them?
first got
Did you
no,
monetize it?
I didn't charge them. I only monetized a few because I monetized Nile and Nile, God,
Yeah.
he loves his mac and cheese. Oh my
I love
God,
my mac and cheese. Don't get me.
he
I love my
does.
mac and
He
cheese.
cannot get off of that. But yeah, when I first got there my freshman year, I think I was weighing in at 205, and I was working with our assistant coach Contrell, and I was eating up to 7,000 calories a day, and I was eating nonstop. Every 2 hours, I'd wake up or eat every 2 hours, and I eventually got up to 260 pounds. So it was. I'm not saying it was pure muscle. I mean, there was a little bit of fat in there too. But I had to do what it took to gain weight and to be physically strong. So definitely something I'm looking into for sure.
Nice. Niall?
So I'm going the history education route with a minor in coaching. So my goal is to become a high school baseball coach as well as a history teacher. Obviously, I wanted to be a teacher, but I also think more than anything, I wanted to be a coach. I mean, obviously, I love the game and I want to be a part of it as long as possible. And so that was kind of my best path moving forward.
Good, good. I think you'd be a great coach. I think you might want to entertain some acting or something.
Well, I
Be an
mean, I
influencer
could
on
always do
TikTok.
that. Yeah, I can. Some people joke that I'm an influencer, so maybe that would be my like
I
taking
can
some
I can
ads
see
off
you
anything.
as like Saturday Night Live or something.
Yeah, or like a stand-up comedian. I think that'd be a good gig for me as
Oh my
well.
God.
Or
Well,
maybe like a
Comedian.
singer or dancer or something.
so
I don't know.
that's a good segue what Mark started with, because my next question was going to talk about nutrition and physical training. So how obviously we're living longer. People that are in their 70s they look like they're 50 now, and it's just the way that, because all the knowledge we have on what we should be eating and what we shouldn't be eating. But
You
you
guys
know
saw me during the summer. Do I look like I'm 70?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
You don't
but
look a day over 22.
but at your age, like think of my son. He eats healthy, but he eats like a machine. Like, I mean, but it's a lot of Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell. Maybe that's not the best stuff, but because you are young and you have that metabolism, but how important is it for you guys, and how much do both of your programs, your coaches, I'm sure you have, strength and conditioning coaches and maybe nutritionists at your campuses, like, how emphasized is that on your nutrition? So I'll start with one of my guys that used to work for me. His son got a scholarship to play Nebraska, played golf at Nebraska. This was 20 years ago. And every athlete in Nebraska gets a nutritionist, and all the athletes, now Nebraska's big money, all the athletes have their own cafeteria. So they all had an ID card. And so anytime they went through, the meal plan was all you can eat, whatever you wanted, but you had to go through and they would scan everything you ate. So it was like, and they had to meet with a nutritionist like once a week, and they would, like, if they took an offensive lineman and wanted to put 50 pounds on him, or an offensive lineman that they wanted him to lose 20 pounds, like, is it that, I mean, have your schools gotten to that point where it's that technical and they can do that? Or, how do they talk about your nutrition?
For me, I mean, we kind of have an overview of nutrition. We have a strength and conditioning coach, obviously, Coach X. He also does a good job with our nutrition, talks about it a lot. I mean, a lot of it's on our own, especially me being off campus. But, when we have our lifts, we're able to, so especially out here, we have like 40 gallons of chocolate milk every week that we're like the athletes are allowed to use. So after our lifts, we're always filling up with chocolate milk. And there's also days too when we have lifts where we actually make some protein shakes and put them in there. And then there's also some kind of assortments like bananas, granola bars, like protein bars, whey protein, scoop some of that stuff in there. So they do as much as they can. They obviously know that, we're college students. We obviously eat and drink different things, but they at least kind of have a forefront there and have an idea. And for me, I use it as my breakfast, to be quite frank. Nice little protein post-workout, and then, a couple granola bars and a banana, and I'm set.
What about you, Mark?
So for us, we don't have a nutritionist or a strength and conditioning coach. Our assistant coach, he's the one that made all of our workout plans. So it's really him making our workouts. When it comes to nutrition, honestly, if you're on the dorms, you just eat whatever the cafeteria makes, and the cafeteria isn't the healthiest option. So I always try to avoid like the processed foods or foods that were just thrown in, oil and they're full of fat. So I try to stay, every night they always have pasta. So I'm always trying to eat pasta, at least something healthy. So for us, they're not really heavy on the nutrition, although like our assistant coach is pretty, if you're not doing his workouts, then you're going to be in trouble for sure. But eating eating wise, not really, nothing too hard. I know I have my own, I have my protein powder, my creatine, peanut butter. I don't think I've ever eaten so many PB&Js because it's always late at night where I get hungry and I don't have money to go get food, so I just make PB&Js, and it's definitely the healthier option compared to going out, spending money, and eating all those bad foods. But
Right.
that's how we are over here.
How about peanut butter and honey?
No.
I have
No.
never. Have you ever tried peanut butter and bananas?
Banana?
Yeah.
Banana? Do peanut butter,
No, that's
banana.
good.
Do some peanut butter pickle.
Peanut butter pickle.
All right. I got two last questions. Every time I get the chance to meet a professional baseball player or someone who had a very big Division I career, or got, played minor league baseball, whatever, I always ask them, what did they learn when they got to that level that they didn't know until they got there? So now you guys are this is your first year at 4-year university. Something technical, something fielding wise, hitting wise, stretching wise, throwing wise. Is there something that like clicked for you, that made sense to you, that the coaches were teaching that you've never heard of? Is there anything new?
I would say it's not like there's anything new. I think more than anything, especially the older you get, the more individualized it gets, right? Because obviously when we're younger, we all figure out the basics of how to field the ground ball, how to swing a bat, how to throw a pitch, whatever. But then once you get to the high school and college levels, a lot of it becomes individualized and being able to do stuff outside of team practices. I know Mark talks about it, hitting in the cage late at night or, whatever, because you have your bases there. But if you want to separate yourself and be a better, not only high school athlete, but collegiate athlete, you have to put in the extra work, especially with the NCAA and how it works. I mean, we have dead periods after Thanksgiving where we're not allowed to be with our team at all for the final 2 or 3 weeks of the semester. And so if you sit, on your butt all day and not do anything with season right around the corner, you're going to be screwed. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned is the fact that, a lot of it has to be on your own and just figuring out kind of what you need to work on.
What do you mean you can't be with your teammates? Like,
So like there's rules as far as like
you just
practices.
do a function.
Yeah, so like we don't have organized team practices, right?
Gotcha.
And they can't force you to practice. We have captains practices and things like that. And so holding yourself accountable, it's a big thing we talk about here, and getting the work in that you need to get working.
Gotcha. Anything for you, Mark? Any swing tip that you got that you like, or any fielding tip?
Hitting wise, I think the biggest thing with me was, and other people out there for sure, is really thinking of trying to hit it the other way. I think if you have the approach of trying to go oppo, you can cover the whole plate. You can, if you're attacking oppo and it's inside, you just keep turning, catch it out in front. And, that's something I've been really working on this year is just trying to minimize and do less. In a good way, though. Like I said earlier, I was always trying to go yard and trying to go big. And now this year, just really minimizing and just trying to, hit the ball hard. And if I catch a barrel, then I did what I can control. And wherever the ball goes, it's out of my control. So that's something
for me, as your coach this last summer, what I did like is that you know who you are, and you didn't really have a big swing. Like you didn't swing. You don't have to swing hard because you're 6'6", 240, right?
Right.
Yeah. So as long as you get extended and get your energy into the baseball, it's going to go. And I never thought you overswung. I thought you were a little bit a lot more patient than I expected you to be. You got a lot of first pitch fastballs, as I mentioned earlier. But I never thought you tried to do too much even this last summer. So I think you're on a good track. I think you have a good eye. I think you got some bad calls on you because you're 6'6", and
right.
Most of the umpires are 5'8", so they're like, oh, that looks like a strike. But all right, last thing we'll wrap up. What advice? I'll start with you, Mark. What advice would you give to high school players that want to play college baseball?
I think for me personally, I think there's two major advices I give. Obviously, the first one being hit the weight room early and make sure you're eating the right foods. I think, especially now that I'm at a four-year university, there's a lot of freshmen who are, like 5'8", 5'10", but they're all 140, 150 pounds. I feel like if you really hammer down on your body and try to gain 20 pounds of muscle, you're going to, it's your chances of playing and hitting for power are going to be way up. So I feel like, and it's going to be a good impression for the head coach for sure. Our second baseman right now, he's about 5'8", but he's pretty big for how small he is. He's about 170, 180, and pure muscle too. Like he's a pretty stocky dude for sure, and he can hit the ball really well and hit it for line drives and hit for power. So I think that's one thing I'd really recommend. Another advice is honestly just playing the game and realizing that it's just a game. Like there's a lot more life outside of baseball. And I know for me last year I got redshirted. That was easily the hardest year of my life. I was so much in my head, and I felt like I failed myself and I failed my family. And I didn't realize this is just a game, and there's so much more to life outside of this game. And I think the sooner you come to realize that, the more successful you'll have in the game because you're going to be more loose and you're going to be more free. And I'm not saying like I'm perfect now, and there's still some days where I'm hard on myself, and maybe one day I'm gonna do well, and and I feel like I failed or whatever, but just realizing that this is just a game, and you're supposed to have fun, and we're grown men playing a kid's game, and just realize that you're blessed to play a game that you've always loved growing up. So
Nile, that's great. That's great advice. Baseball. What I love about baseball, and yeah, I've been in it. I've been doing baseball for 46 years. Um, but there's setbacks in baseball, and there's setbacks in everything in life. But baseball really teaches you how to deal with it. I think. Um, if so, I'll plug my own book. The book I wrote about hitting. It's called The Stage for Elite Hitters. The difference to me with baseball compared to other sports is baseball is an individual sport. It's within a team sport because when you're on the mound, Nile, you're the only guy throwing the ball. Like you're on a stage, man. You're on a circular stage out there, and you have to understand that you have to like welcome that. You have to love being up there, basically giving a speech to 50,000 people, which is not easy to do. Mark, when you're in the batter's box, you're in a 20-foot, rectangular square foot stage. You're the only guy that can get the hit. So it is an individual sport. And that's why it's so hard. And that's why baseball players talk about the anxiety, because if we're playing football and I'm playing defensive end and Niles behind me playing like a defensive back, and the guy's running around the corner and I miss the tackle, Nile can make the tackle, right? But if I'm at shortstop and the ball's hit to me, no one else can make that play but me, right? So it's an individual sport. And so it does build anxiety. And especially for pitchers and hitters, when you're the only guy throwing the ball, you're the only guy that can get a hit for the team. Like for basketball, you can just give the ball to Michael Jordan every time you get the ball. Go, here you go. Well, you can't tell Mark Gonzales to go hit every time there's the next guy's up to hit, right? You have to wait 8 guys. And so you have your chance, your one chance. It could be 2 strikes, bases loaded, you're down by 2, or the same scenario with now pitching. So how do you handle that anxiety is very hard, and part of it is breathing. Part of it is doing everything that you guys talked about, is all the extra work and building the confidence, understanding that you're prepared, and actually loving that stage. You have to love that situation where it's 2 strikes and you're down by 1 and you're in the box, right? Or you're on the mound. And so if you don't love it, it's never going to happen. But when you talk about giving, speeches in a classroom or on a stage, whatever, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, right? So the more you get on that stage, you get on that circular stage on the mound, you get on that rectangular stage in the box, and you start feeling more comfortable. I mean, think about it. If you think about body language, if I were to ask you guys right now, who's got the best body language in Major League Baseball? Who comes to mind? I got one guy, just boom, just goes right to my mind. He's killing it right now in the postseason. He's not afraid of the stage. Anybody?
I got no.
What I'm saying is, it's Bryce Harper. If you could walk up to the box like Bryce Harper walks up to the box, do you think you're going to be afraid? Or if you could take the mound like a Verlander does, or some of these guys that just they own it, right? And they love it because they want to be on stage. That's them channeling their inner rock star, right? So that's my advice I'd give to you guys and give to these high school kids is understand. And guess what? Failure is part of it, like you said, Niall. It is, but I try not to use the F word, and that's the F word I use or talk about is failure, is because when you line out, I saw Mark line out several times this summer. Did he fail? No. Did you throw a wicked pitch and some guy hit a double, and it was a great pitch? Did you fail? No, he just beat you, right? So that's the beauty of baseball, and I think that's why we love it. And so, again, I'm so proud of you guys. Knowing you guys and the way that I look at you guys as you're my own kids. I love you, and so happy for you. Keep us posted on how your season's going. Stay healthy. Enjoy it, like you said. It is a game. Have fun, and we'll get you some acid rainwater. We'll get you on the website for that. And like I said, keep us posted and enjoy the holidays. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, TJ. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having both Mark and I on. It was great, and like I said, a lot of things to be learned from here. So we do appreciate it.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys having us on here.
Yeah. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.